No.
Hey,
This is going to be an interesting podcast, I feel like, because we're all
you're half
just...
asleep and you don't
I'm
have
half
phones.
asleep. It's
I'm half asleep and kind of
Monday
sick, so
morning,
we're good.
it's rainy in Los Angeles, which is...
Yeah, why is it raining?
Doesn't happen very often. I don't know why it's raining, it just is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that.
But it kind of goes with everybody's vibe right now, so it's fine.
Just gloomy, hungry.
Just like cuddle. I just want to like cuddle on the couch
Cozy.
and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right. Are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
Perfect. So, but we're chasing dreams, and so we drive 45 minutes in the rain on a Monday morning to North Beechwood Drive.
Are you in Culver City as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is commitment. This is love right here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Betsy,
for coming
not
on.
Ross. I forget your name already.
Anthony.
John.
John? Cool.
Shut up.
What's the name of your guys'
Anthony.
podcast?
It's called the Have a Seat podcast.
Have a Seat podcast.
Yeah.
I
We
like it.
just invite people to have a seat and have a chat.
Yeah, I love it. I like this little room that you guys got here.
It's dope,
Thanks.
right?
Yeah, it's awesome. The whole apartment's awesome.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And clean.
It is.
How
yeah.
many people do you live with?
18.
Two other
No, three.
Just let you
No,
answer
three.
these fucking questions.
Yeah, three or two. Two other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just me and two other people.
Yeah, it's me, my wife, and my dog. It's never this clean, ever.
Well,
Actually,
because you have a dog.
yeah, well, and a wife. But but actually, she cleaned it yesterday. So
Oh, good, good.
The dog did. No,
How
I'm
long
just
have you
kidding.
been-
My wife did. But
How long have you been married?
God bless her. A year and a half. Got married
Oh,
in
okay.
Topanga Canyon, September 30th, 2016.
Awesome, man.
Met her like 6 years ago at the Oceana Beach Club in Santa Monica. I was engaged to somebody else at the time.
I
No
didn't know
way.
that.
We were like, but me and Carol became pretty good friends.
Yeah.
Friends. And the relationship that I was in was rough. It was not good. But I was in it for like 5 years. And it was not good for like
No
4.5.
way.
And we were living together. And I had gotten back into like serving and bartending because this fine woman didn't want me doing that because she had a little bit of a jealousy issue, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I kind of stopped doing that. I worked at like a storage facility as a manager in the hood. It
That
was,
sounds terrible.
it was brutal.
You?
Oh, God.
I did.
Oh, that was probably dangerous.
Really?
For a
Yeah.
white man like yourself.
Oh, man.
White man.
One time so my boss is from Compton, and I was
Okay.
in like Hawthorne.
Yeah.
And it was like a Saturday afternoon, and he's like, you want the best burritos ever? I was like, fuck yeah. And he's like, let's go to Compton and get some burritos. I'm like, all right, cool. So we get in my little like hoopty Toyota forest green Camry, and which I just bought from somebody, and immediately found out that it was a lemon. But
Nice.
with
How long have you been in LA?
11 years.
Oh, okay.
So this was almost like 10 years ago.
Okay, cool.
I got a commercial when I first got out here in like my first 6 months. And so I got some money.
You moved here to pursue acting, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm an actor, got a podcast, I teach yoga, I bartend.
Live in the LA.
I'm the last thing that LA needs, really. But
Me,
I do.
It's me minus the yoga.
Minus the yoga, yeah.
And acting.
You're not an actor, yeah. Get out of here.
Anyway,
What do you do, though?
I'm a bartender, and I now do a podcast and I do
Perfect.
stand-up.
Yeah, okay, fun.
Yeah.
I just had a stand-up comedian on my podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you did. He has his own podcast, too, right?
Yeah, and he has a podcast, Bob Nickman, the Exploding Human podcast.
And the name of your podcast is the Noel Bax podcast,
Yeah,
because your name is Noel. I don't think we've said that yet.
No, we have not.
So I'm Noel Bax. I also, I just figure if maybe, I'm kind of vain, you know? It's like if I ever do get famous, I might as well just like set things up. So that instead of having a podcast that we thought of all these different names and all these different ideas that we could do for our podcast. And basically I was just like, I just made it really simple. You know what I mean? I was like thinking of all these different things. Me and my wife were trying to figure some things out, and I was like, fuck it. We're going to make the Noel Bax podcast, and it's going to be, I've been out here for 11 years, and I want to interview and have conversations with really dope people that I've met in LA. Because I don't know about you. You meet some pretty cool people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
everybody in LA has a really
Crazy
wicked story.
Yeah, and so that's it. So I kind of prescribe by not Joseph Campbell, Stephen Pressfield.
Okay.
The War of Art.
Yeah, I talked about that last
Yes,
time.
we have.
Yeah.
Talked
Amazing
about
book,
that.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he wrote another book called Do the Work, and that's basically really outlines how he writes books and his whole
Okay.
process
Oh,
of
that's
it.
cool.
So it's really dope. And so he says
I'm gonna have to read that because I love the War of Art.
Yeah, read all of his book, but read like he does something after that one, and then he does Do the Work. So and Do the Work, I think Do the Work and War of Art are the best ones, and then Gates of Fire and all these other books they read. So he says that you do it in 3 parts. Like all his stories are in 3 parts, 3 acts. Every good movie, every good thing has 3 acts. So my podcast is like, where are you from? Let's talk about your life. Let's talk about your parents. Let's talk about how you grew up. Let's just see how it was. Let's see what kind of diversity we can get in here. And just, because I think a lot of us come from far away-ish. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's from L.A. And even if they are, it's cool. But you kind of get that like, I remember when I was growing up like that and whatever time it was and whatever Midwest town it was or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then who knows, And then I usually ask about their parents and stuff like that. So either A, you can give a shout out to your parents, or B, you can talk about your parents. Talk shit about your parents. Whatever you want to do. And then like, why'd you move out here? And like, what was the mindset of that and what kind of led up to that? And then what was it like when you got here and what's it like now? Because when I first moved out here, I said I got that commercial, right? When I got that commercial, I was living with a hoarder meth head who was a lion tamer and lived in North Hollywood.
Let's dig real deep into that.
So look, man, I'm like 23, 24, and I'm from Chicago, and I think I know everything.
Yeah, of course.
I know nothing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a hot mess. I got things together a little bit. I was
hot mess.
Yeah. I was modeling and like started pursuing acting and doing all that in Chicago. I booked like an Abercrombie & Fitch job back then, and that was basically it. That like I got a couple of print things. I started taking acting classes. I was bartending at this gay bar with my shirt off on the weekends.
Nice.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and then I started personal training a guy. So I was making a good amount of money for a guy who wasn't paying rent, living at home with his mom. All cash. And so I moved out here thinking I knew everything. And I moved in with some people off Craigslist. Mm. They were these like 18 and 20-year-old kids. I'm 23, 24. I'm turning 24 like in a couple months back then. Mm-hmm. And they're like 18 and 20. And on their ad is like, I had a dog. I still have a dog, but I have a different dog back then. And they're like looking for a roommate. We're like actors and musicians and singers, and we want somebody who's really cool, and we can have a dog. And I was like, this is like the heavens are opening for me. I was like, Jesus grabbed the wheel. And so my buddy brings me to the airport. We drink like 6 to 10 shots of like Maker's Mark,
As a celebration.
Yeah, as a celebration. Like, we're going. I got like $2 or $3 grand in my pocket. He's like, be careful. And I get on the flight and I drink some wine and I get to the airport. It was February. Bears had just lost the Super Bowl. I was supposed to move here a couple days prior to that, but I was so hungover that I had to postpone that a couple days. I was definitely hungover. And so I got here, and I'm in a Christmas sweater and shorts and a book bag and like a roller.
That's a dope look.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and I land in Los Angeles. I'd been here before for a couple weeks, only once, and I'm like, palm trees. It's like 65. Life can never get. I'm like, my dreams are coming true. Mm-hmm. And then this couple like drives past me. And I see them, and my like heart kind of drops, my gut kind of sinks. I'm like, these are not my people, like they're just not people that I would necessarily hang around with. They're very emo looking, and they were very like, and shout out to Mike and Nikki, but they just weren't my people. Like, she was this really tiny, probably like 90-pound stick, really big hair, and like a trucker hat, like this, like she had this like really skinny body with this huge head and like a trucker hat, and he was just like, look, kind of crazy, and they like, I don't know, at LAX they went on the wrong side, so then they came back around, and I was like, I was gonna pretend like I didn't know who they were.
Wait, this is the lion tamer?
No.
This is the people that...
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I get with these people.
Okay.
And luckily they have this dog, and I fall in love with the dog. I'm like, fuck it, I'll move in with you. And the minute I moved in with them, they were fighting all the time. She starts banging the neighbor.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, all these really crazy things start to happen. And within like a few months, I'm like, I got to move. So I moved back.
That's what you get for falling in love with a dog. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was there for Felix. Everything works out the way it's supposed to.
His name is Felix?
Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix?
Good dog. Great dog.
It's a cute name.
I used to cry to him at night.
Lovely.
Like, I hate your parents.
I would just be like smoking weed, staring at a ceiling, staring at a wall, crying to the dog. And
So you had to move.
so I had to move. So I moved in. And so, I mean, this is within like just a few months. I move in with my buddy, who's like my cousin's buddy, who they lived here for a long time. Those are the people that I kind of knew in LA. That doesn't work out. I don't even remember why. I moved in with this other woman. She was insane. She was kind of crazy. She had this really nice apartment. She called us soulmates, you know. But it was like a block off the beach. It was like $1,000. But she used to come into my apartment every single night, or like every day. I'd be like changing. She would just like come in. She was just crazy, right? She's just this insane person. So then I'm catering, and I meet this woman who's maybe about twice my age, and I'm working with her. And I have all my stuff in my car, all of it in this little Ford that I got. And she sees me and we go for a hike. She's like, "You can move in with me."
How many months is all of this moving?
Within
place?
6 months.
You've moved at least 4 times? Is that the count we're at?
Yeah, about.
Jesus.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm at 4 with this woman who's like, "You don't got to pay any rent. But you probably got to pay me in a couple other ways."
But you gotta fuck me.
And so I start living with her, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. And I'm like, I need to find another place. So
Never once were you like, how about I find a place that, I don't know, sounds real? All these are just like, hey, you want to move in with me? And you're like, sure.
yeah, well, I'm in LA. I don't really know how to. I kind of spend a lot of my money on the first place. I definitely, I mean, in hindsight, I should have not done this, right? I go on Craigslist again, and I find...
Every time you keep going back to
I go to Craigslist, and this guy's like, "I'm from Chicago, I'm an actor, I'm a dog trainer, and I'm a lion tamer, and I got this 2-bedroom house in North Hollywood. I want to move in here." And so I go and check them out. And I'm also at this point where I'm like, you guys can do whatever you want. Anybody can do whatever they want. I just need my room and like a shower, and I'm just gonna do mine.
Just don't bother me.
Just don't bother me.
Right.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my thing. But he's also like addicted to meth and a hoarder.
No, not a big deal.
So within a few months, he pulls out like a taser gun on me.
What the fuck?
Because I went through the mail because I checked out like a bill that I lost one of
Oh shit.
the gay bar that I was working at.
Yeah.
That was actually like this. It was just like a bunch of old men and like transient like male hookers that would come in that they would like go looking for. That bar closed. And so I didn't really have a job, and so I'm kind of looking for jobs. I'm trying to figure out what my bills and everything is kind of in line with. And so I look through the like gas bill or whatever, and I just see that's not really paid, but I really just want to see how much it was and like how much I was going to pay for it. And so he saw that I went through it, and then I think the meth was kind of kicking up in his head. I remember the day, the earlier that day, he's making a peanut butter sandwich and he's putting mushrooms on it. And he's like,
interesting
he's like,
flag right there.
I mean, mushrooms are fun. Like, but he's making that sandwich on like
Are these normal mushrooms or
magic mushrooms?
Oh,
okay.
That goes with peanut butter.
That goes together.
Why are you guys
I thought you meant like just like mushrooms. I was like, is it making
Portobello
eggs?
peanut butter sandwich.
I like that you guys actually appreciate that they're at least like psychedelic mushrooms and not portobellos.
Yes.
So he's making those, and he's like, I'm going to be in the backyard, which is full of just like all this trash that he collects and picks up and puts in his backyard. He's like, I'm going to set it all up, and I'm going to, it was insane. It was crazy. It was bananas.
Also weird that he was a lion tamer of all fucking
Dude, he has videos. Recently, I had such a I hated this guy for a long time. I recently Googled him, and he's dead.
Oh shit, that's
people die.
I mean,
yeah,
especially people that do meth.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm sad. Maybe I would be. I still have maybe a little harbored resentment for him, but also people die. So I don't really care.
People die, especially, you're doing meth. I don't know. There's a lot of issues in there.
There's a lot of issues.
Anyway, so he got super pissed.
So he's making the magic mushroom peanut butter sandwich, and he's listening to like Donny Osmond in the backyard, and it's like sunny out, and he's back there, and he's just like I don't think he has a shirt on. He's kind of got this long crazy hair. His name's Tom, and he just like looks great. And I'm going out the back door. Okay, there's so many layers to this, I'm sorry, but I'm going out the back door because my mom is a feng shui master, and she says to only use the back door, and by using that back door is how I feel like I did get my national commercial that I shot earlier, like at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm going out the back door. I see Tom. I go for a hike. Me and this one girl that I eventually became engaged with and then broke up and then got engaged to Carol and married her. We had just broken up like that day or two ago, and I'm going for a hike with some other girl that I knew from back home.
Yeah.
So I go for the hike. I take my dog. I come back home, and now it's dark. And now Tom is in the backyard, and there's like Marilyn Manson esque music on, like screaming screaming babies, like really weird, and he's looks like this little rat, and he's like running around and I'm like, I'm gonna go take a nap. Tom looks kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And so I take a nap and I walk out of my room, and our doors face each other, and I walk out of my room into the living room because I'm gonna go do yoga. I got my pink yoga mat. I'm going to go do yoga, and he comes out, and he's wearing two hats. He has one hat. He has like a brimmed hat that around, and then another hat on top. He has a trench coat on, and then he has this the oldest cotton shirt that's has holes in it, and then he has cotton shorts,
Zombie Undertaker.
Yeah, he has cotton shorts, and then he's wearing Tevas, but not the real Tevas, like cheaper Tevas.
Yeah.
And a taser gun in his hand.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's like, he went through my mail. And I was like, he's like, give me your key. And I was like, I thought he was just joking. I was like, is this a joke? I'm laughing. He's like, and then he pulls out my keys out of his pocket. And he's like, where's your other key? Because I would leave it under the mattress or whatever, or under the mat. And I'm like, oh, shit, this looks super real. So luckily, I think I had just taken some yoga teacher training, and I was kind of calm for a Southside Chicago kid that could get. I wanted to kill him a little bit, or really hurt him. And luckily, I kind of was, I was calm enough to not. And I got out of there, and I went to the girl's place that I was supposed to, go do yoga with. That I'd just broken up with a couple days later, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I might as well. She's like, well, you can move in with me. And so the next day I went back, and he locked me out, and I had to go through the back door, and I kind of break in, and he's sitting there in his robe with a cup of coffee. And he's like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like,
just act like nothing
happened. Pretty much, And so I'm like, whatever. And I go in my room, doors off the hinges, all my stuff is packed and put in the corner. So I just start grabbing my stuff and putting it in my car. And he's like, you need help? And I'm like,
what the fuck?
I'm like, fuck you, Tom. And
Jesus.
That reminded me of that scene in Boogie Nights. Have you seen that?
I love Boogie Nights, but which part?
When they go to rob that guy, and obviously you weren't robbing that guy, but that guy's just on drugs.
That was basically
freaking
it.
out.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there, what the fuck, man? We need to get out of here.
That was great. Hopefully my ma doesn't listen to this because she'd be really nervous for me. But I
feel like
this was also 10 years ago, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot that happens in LA where I'm just my parents have no idea what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, right.
Or what I'm experiencing, seeing. There's so much of that. Not even just,
well, the
it
other night
enhances when you go to a new place.
Doing bungee jumping and stuff. That was
yeah. And sucking all the dicks. Doing all the blow and
Anyway.
But there's just weird situations that happen in places in cities where there are drugs and people of all different kinds of walks of life. You're just bound to run into something that you've never seen before.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I moved back in with that girl. And then my buddies were like, hey, we're going to rent this house off of Crenshaw and Slauson. Do you want to move in? And I was
used to
like,
live down there.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't terrible. Well, no, it was even Imperial. It was Crenshaw and Imperial. So it's even,
Worse.
It's basically, it's Inglewood-ish, but you're living on Crenshaw, and Crenshaw isn't terrible all the way around, but over there it can be kind of tough. But luckily, so I'm we're basically one of the only white people living in this neighborhood. And I was like, 100%. Hell yes, this is going to be the most normal place, Crenshaw and Imperial, that I've ever lived.
Has everybody else that you have previously been living with, have they all been white?
No, the crazy woman by the beach is black.
Okay.
And all the buddies that I was living with were white guys. They were kind of like, they were white guys who wished they were black, but they were all white. They're from like Westchester, California. You know, they went to like Westchester High. They were like rappers at like Lamarck Park.
Nice.
You know, weed dealers.
Where did you meet those people? These friends?
So when my first place I moved to was in Playa del Rey, my neighbor, who my roommate started banging eventually, you know, he was a nice guy, and I was like, I was like a really big weed smoker back then, and I was just like, who's good, you know, where are we at? And he introduced me to my buddy who sold it to me, and then he introduced me to my buddy who lived around the corner, who I'm still very good friends with. Just saw him recently. I'm still friends with all of them. I just don't talk to some of them as much. But
well, yeah, if they live in the city, it's kind of like you know that the other one still exists. It doesn't mean that you like hang out. Because I have people that I was friends with when I first moved here, and now I don't speak to them or see them. But like you're still in the same city, so it's like if we cross paths, it'd be like, what's up?
Yeah.
You know?
Big ass city though.
It is, but if you live, I don't know. I see people
really
a lot.
I know I think that's funny. Like you don't.
Well, like, because I work at public school and your yoga studio is right across the street.
Right.
So I'll walk to work and I'll see you.
Yeah.
And we don't work together anymore.
Right.
So, you know, if you're in the same region,
that's true.
You're more likely to run into people that you know, especially.
Yeah, that's true. When I go back to my hometown, it's like every single time I go to that fucking Target, I see someone that I know.
Oh, for sure.
It's the worst.
Target is like the beacon of those kinds of horrible interactions.
I kind of love it. I mean, and not Target, but going home and like walking down the street and somebody just be like, I wanted to work out, and so I went to this place, and then this girl looks up, she's like, "Are you Noel Bax?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, my brother-in-law's brother's now fiance or whatever, you know. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then she's like, "Yeah, class is free," or like, you know, going down the street and somebody's yelling your name. I don't know. I don't mind it.
Do you go home often?
No. But like, so maybe that's why I don't mind it. But like, maybe twice a year, maybe, you know.
Yeah,
maybe.
I haven't been home because my parents moved out of my childhood home after, like, when I moved here, we all moved to Texas. Yeah. So my childhood home belongs to somebody else now.
That's so
Where are you
weird,
from?
right?
Virginia. It's
really?
what?
It's so weird, right?
It's very sad. I was very emotional. I love that house. You know, I was there for like 18 plus years. Like my entire being was there, and now it's just like somebody else's.
That happened to Carol, my wife. Her mom just like got up and moved out of their house and moved to like another town after they had her brother and her were in college. Well,
I totally get it. Like my parents wanted to move somewhere else eventually. They wanted to settle down in a smaller house with a different community and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's not unusual, but they ended up settling in North Carolina. So even when I go home, it's either Philly, which is where my grandparents and all of those relatives are, or it's North Carolina. I don't have a reason to be in Virginia anymore. And so everybody from college, because I went to school in Virginia, are like, "Hey, when are you coming back home?" And I'm like, home?
Right.
Am I coming to see you people? What the fuck? Like, I wouldn't mind, but I have no reason, unless I'm like going to an alumni event or like a reunion or something. Like, there's no destination in Virginia.
There's nothing for me here now.
There's nothing for me. I've moved on.
What college?
Lynchburg College.
Oh, you've told me this in the past.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the name Lynchburg.
It's the worst.
That's the whitest girl I know. Actually, I don't know if you're the whitest girl I know.
I'm not that white.
You have blonde hair. Yeah, no, that's what I say.
She appears to be.
Yeah, I just mean white in appearance.
Yeah, I mean, I can get pale too.
Yeah,
I'm not on the inside. Not my figure either.
No, I've always made that joke.
I know. Noel was like,
she'd be like living in West Adams.
He's like, I bet they love you over there.
I bet they love you in West Adams. She's like, they do. They love me.
What is West Adams?
Where she lives? Like, it's like kind of
Culver.
It's East Culver.
Oh, okay.
And it's like becoming very like up and coming, but it was the hood. Like it was Adams and
it's a
Crenshaw
Hispanic family neighborhood.
Yeah.
Essentially, as I live just amongst like siestas.
Siestas too.
Siestas, but like every like Friday night, there's like a full party, and almost every house has one of those tents.
Yep.
In like that's where they throw their parties and like
Tents?
every house.
You
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. So like
the easy apps.
yeah, whatever
Yeah.
those
The
are,
little
but
white
like they're
ones.
like the long ones, so you can
Yep.
house like a long table or a dance floor is what I'm assuming they use it for, because the house right behind us has the most banging parties, and they have a huge sound system. They have like top 40 songs in Spanish that they play. Like they had "Let It Go" in Spanish,
Really?
and they were just like, yeah, because I think it's a bunch of little kids too.
No,
It sounds gnarly though.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different song for. I was thinking like of an old like Silk song or something like that. Like, but I can't even remember what it was called right now. So I was like, really? They got that in Spanish?
No. They had "Let It Go" and the kids.
You got
were
everything
just,
in
like,
Spanish, man.
Screaming, yeah, it's funny.
Anyway,
Are you Hispanic?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't speak Spanish at all.
Poquito español?
He has no respect at work.
I laid brick for a year with all Mexican guys in Chicago, and so I learned just a little bit. And being a bartender in a restaurant, people love
The
it
line
when I'm
cooks
like,
all
You
speak
would
Spanish.
think that I would like pick it up, but I think I had this like mental block that I just refuse to like try to learn it for some fucking reason. I don't know.
I enjoyed
it.
My thing is, I don't want to start speaking it and be offensive with it. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it, and then they'll be like, "Fuck you for trying to speak my language. You're fucking it up."
I don't have the like.
I can all day long, but it's like if I say hola, I don't want to be like, "Oh, you're trying to be Spanish," and I'm like, "I'm just trying to say hi." Like,
I'd be like, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So
Like, I'm
chill
not
the fuck out. You know what I mean? I'm not culture appropriating anything. I'm trying to fucking be your friend and fucking talk and you're like, it's like, but if like a Mexican guy came or like somebody who spoke Spanish and was just like, hello, and like, but it was like choppy and fucked up, I wouldn't be like, don't try to appropriate my fucking language, you asshole. Like, I'd be like, cool, thanks for trying to do it. Como está? You know,
I feel like
I'll try
that's
to
like
meet you
the
in
American thing, though, is to just be like chill about it. But like Mexicans would get very like some of them. I mean, not
Really?
Like, yeah.
I've never had that. But
Well,
I mean, you
to
know
you,
better.
Mainly, like
isn't it?
Yeah, because
They don't.
especially
They
to
don't
me,
respect him because he
know-
doesn't speak Spanish.
'cause
So
they
they're like,
know-
"You're not really Mexican,"
like,
and
the
he's
people-
like,
The people that I work with, like, they know I'm half Mexican.
Yeah.
And so I'll just fuck with them. Like they'll be talking in Spanish, and then I'll just walk by and be like, "Odele," or whatever. Like,
"Odele,"
or just be like, "Hey, caliente," and then just like keep walking. And they're like, "What the fuck?"
throwing like one word at them.
Yeah, just random Spanish words that I know
Yeah, right.
that don't.
Well, now you're
mean
not even
anything.
trying to make. Now you're trying to be an asshole.
Yeah.
That's different.
I think that makes a little bit more sense, like for you.
Yeah.
You know, because you'd be
because even if I did try to speak Spanish, like there's this old woman, not old, but there's a woman at my work that she like always is like, you need to like learn Spanish, you know, like you're Mexican, you should know Spanish, and I'm just like, yeah, but that would just take too much
yeah,
time.
honestly, for real.
Yeah, do I really need to though?
No. Offense, to her, but like I liked being entrenched in it and just being like how to say buenos dias in the morning, lonche, como está, muchas gracias, and poquito, because everybody, you speak Spanish? No, poquito.
Yeah.
A little bit. And so usually everybody kind of lays off me. And but I think, people appreciate when I just say hi, how you doing in Spanish to them,
Yeah.
Mi amiga or mi amigo. But that's all I got. And then and I don't think I'm not really trying to learn too much more. It would be nice if
like
it
there's
wasn't so
other-
fucking hard though. Like I'm not trying that hard.
I wish I had just been. I wish my childhood. I just grew up with it. That would have been just.
Yeah,
It's so much easier to learn because you have to learn English first. Everybody, that's a whole learning curve as a child, and then if you just learn Spanish or a different language at the same time, then it's like, okay, it's like embedded in you now.
Yeah.
My grandma only spoke Spanish, but I wasn't around her a lot.
Oh.
So like, I think if I was more, then I would have totally picked it up.
Yeah.
My grandma
she didn't
spoke
speak a lick
Italian,
of English.
and she had very broken English. But she could speak it enough to have a conversation, but she had a heavy accent, and I never learned Italian.
Yeah, my grandparents were Irish, and so I speak Irish. And
Can you do an Irish accent?
no, don't ask. I mean, maybe I could. But on the spot, I would butcher it. I feel worse. My
I
friend,
hate doing accents on the spot. That's like my biggest.
Yeah.
Anything on the spot is
I
kind
can
of.
do an accent if I hear it right before I do it.
Yeah, if I'm talking to
Yeah.
somebody with an accent, like yesterday I had
Yeah.
a table and it was all Martin
Yeah,
style British.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was about to start just giving it back, because to me that's like speaking a different language. It's
Yeah.
like I'm meeting you at your level. You know what I mean? But that's offensive.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure.
That's more.
Sometimes when I'm talking to Martin, my roommate, I
do it every time I see him. I'm like, Martin, hello, and I'm just like, shut up, you're such a dick.
I think it's funny, and it can be tongue in cheek, especially if you're friends with them.
Yeah,
like fuck with them.
Yeah, it's not like
it's
I
not
hope
that
he
big
wouldn't
of a
get
deal.
offended.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, that's good.
I think on the topic of being offended, I'm fucking sick of it. No offense. That's not even a bit, but it's like actually being offended. You can be offended. Like, you guys see that Nikki Arbor video of like This is America, the woman one? Okay, so when I watched it, initially I was kind of like, oh, this looks like a spoof and it's kind of stupid. I love the This is America video.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
And then I heard her on a podcast, and she wasn't a spoof. She like wanted to do it for like women. Like her lyrics and everything is about how it is to be a woman in America. And I was kind of like, oh, let me watch it again. And I was like, okay, I don't like really like the rap, and the video is actually pretty well done, even though she looks kind of corny.
Mm.
But
is this like that spoof that a chick did?
But it's not. Yeah, it's a spoof, but it's not a
spoof.
spoof.
I just saw it still.
The video, and she took
the formula, the creative formula of the video, and
basically, and
just
put different lyrics, which they weren't nonsense lyrics. I'm sure she put a lot of thought into them about what. But the problem is, you let him have that fucking moment. Why are you trying to, like? It's like it's becoming like iconic at this point with all of the the things that it's saying. So just taking that and putting, let's backpack on that and do a feminist thing. It's just like, no, you do your own feminist thing. Make your own creativity. You're stealing his creativity for your own message. So no, like, don't do that. I just don't agree with stealing somebody else's art and trying to put it's like not even your spin, because it's not elevated in any way. It's just in different words, but the same video.
Yeah. Especially for feminism, because I feel like then people are really going to just be like, I feel like you're not getting your point across.
Yeah. What is stealing that great, wonderful video about the African American experience in America doing for, what is the parallel? There's none of the imagery makes any fucking sense anymore.
Well, it's for, I mean, here's my thing, is that you can have that opinion, but I also feel like it is America, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, and people can't really tell you what to do. So I agree that you get to have that opinion, and I also agree that like anybody can do whatever they want. And I was interested because I've listened to her podcast, and she's actually a decent person. So it's interesting to like get the behind and listen to all sides of it, because I do agree with what you're saying. And she admitted that her timing was off and obviously not good. She did it within like a day or two of the video actually coming out.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Wow.
Because she thought that it was going to be like this viral video that kind of came and gone. And so she's like, well, let me get it out while it's viral, because viral videos only last like a couple days or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then she did it. But
then it ended up being a bigger
But I think he
deal,
still gets all the
maybe.
cut, and he still gets all like any of the money that she makes off of it.
I just feel like for her, and we don't have to like spend a lot of time talking about it, but everything that I've seen of hers doesn't.
I also don't know her that well.
Who is this?
Her name is Nicole Arbor, and she got a lot of flack for a lot of videos she's put out about shaming fat people or whatever the fuck it is. And I get it. You watch the video and you're like, yeah, you have a point, and maybe the way that you're coming across is harsh and true, and people don't like that, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, comedy, when it comes from a point of truth, it still has to be funny. Mm-hmm. Like, and her humor doesn't come across. It just comes off as mean or spiteful. And also the fact that she, took his video, it's like, if you're going to be a creative person, you got to make your own stuff.
Well, I think she did. I don't think there's anything new under the sun. And I think that, she took the format, but she also did, she did translate it to, what it... And I think if you did listen to the lyrics and what she tried to do with it, it was decent in the respect of, what it was trying to do for women. Mm-hmm. And the people that she used in the video were all very, the director was black. Like a lot of the people who, who have the problem with it, like people saying it's cultural appropriation or this or that, they used a lot of women and minorities and people of color and all these other things. She did use, it wasn't like she and she made a good point. She's like, if I wasn't like a
I was just gonna say she is also a white girl.
They wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
Yeah, which is also what I was
honestly, I think if you flipped it on the head and it was like a black girl and she did the same exact thing but made it kind of cool because this girl doesn't have a lot of style or. they'd probably be like, man, that's fucking great. But because it's a white girl, they're like, fuck white girl, you can't do that.
Yeah, there is a lot of that backlash, and that's I feel that a lot. I get things put on me because of just how I look.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll be
what?
at work, and this was when I was hosting, and like at our restaurant, the way that it works is one host stands at the front and like deals with the people, and then another host just busses tables, runs food, does the floor work. But you still have to be available to people, but like mostly you're not dealing with the customers. So there was this one Friday night, super busy. I ran up to the front to check with my other host to see what they needed, and didn't engage with any of the people around me. I just said, what do you need? I'll go do it, and ran away. And apparently there was a black couple standing right there, and I didn't acknowledge them.
Right.
And they thought I was being racist. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm doing my goddamn job. I'm not even noticing people. Right. Doesn't matter what you look like. Or I'll be seating people, and it's only two of them, and they want to sit at a giant table. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, we got to realize that other people need these tables and blah, blah, blah. It has nothing to do with who you are. Yep. I'm just doing my fucking job.
Right.
So I'm sorry that I'm white. I can't help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, and that's what I think this girl also takes offense to, and like what you take offense to. It's like, I love, like she's like, it's like we have no problem with that. We have zero problem. Actually, you're like you even said earlier, like I'm far from white in a sense, you know what I mean? And that's how that girl feels too. And so, I don't really, I just think it's just funny. And I think, like, again, like, people can be offended. Like, we're in a country where, like, you can't say or do anything. And so now, if something offends somebody, I am more likely to say it and or share it on Facebook because I'm so sick of people telling me or telling other people that they can or can't fucking do something. Because you can.
Yeah.
And I think it goes all ways. And we live in this world where it's like, I'm open-minded, but only open-minded to what I think or feel. And if you don't believe in that, then fuck you. I'm not open-minded to that. And it's like, well, we're talking about two different, Democrats or Republicans or whatever, but you're actually the same fucking people in the goddamn sense, except for a couple semantics of different words that you guys use. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you both just have these very strong ideas about how things should work. And if you don't align with them, then fuck you. And it's like that.
And then you're saying, well, you're not open-minded to my ideas, and I won't be open-minded to yours.
Right. And I only do this because you treat me this way, and I only do that because you treat me that way. And it's like, well, no, we both treat you. Everybody treats each other the same way, and that's why we keep butting fucking heads. Why can't we just listen, have the conversation, and be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. This is where I'm coming from. Okay, we cool? Peace. Instead of fucking telling people how they're supposed to fucking act.
Yeah. There's so much, polarization of, like, if you, like, one of my managers he voted for Trump, and when he told me that, my initial reaction was like, ah!
Yeah, I get like that too. Right?
But I talked to him, the reason he did it was just the finances. He was like, I get more money back, so that's why I did it. And that's kind of his only thing. Like, he's a proper Southern gentleman and blah, blah, blah. Like, he's not any of the social things that go along with what we think about when we think of Trump. But he will openly talk about that he is a supporter of it. And it's just hard for me to be like, okay, but I still like you as a person, so I'm going to have to just, like, deal with this. You know what I mean? So it sucks when somebody has a different opinion and it's, linked into something so, makes people react so instantly that you can't, like, put that aside and be like, yeah, but I still like you as a person.
Everyone just needs to chill the fuck out, man.
Yeah, please.
It's true. Smoke some weed, people.
Everyone needs to chill
Everybody
the
needs
fuck
to
out.
smoke some weed, join a drum circle, and just like I'm so getting into this like 70s vibes of like soul music and love. Me and Matt went to soul night or soul funk night at the Echo on Saturday night. We're doing a new podcast about it. It's gonna be fucking lit. What?
Echoes on Pico?
No, the Echo, as in the Echoplex in Los Feliz area. So me and my friend Matt are doing a podcast soon of basically scouting out all the dance bar areas of LA
so
because Matt loves dancing. And so we went to the Echo the other night, and every Saturday they have funky soul night, and they just play 70s like bum, 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 all that like funky like it's soul music. That's literally what it is. And I don't know much about music, so this is like a new experience for me. I'm getting a little bit of an education, and I'm dancing and meeting people, and it's so much fun. And I just I dressed in 70s vibe outfit, like bell bottoms and the flowy shirt and stuff, and dancing with that outfit on, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get what they were doing, what they were saying. I'm starting to reconnect to all this music I didn't know about, and understand cool. that generation or that era, and what was happening back then. There was a lot of animosity back then, so I think it resonates. There always has been, again.
And it just needs to chill out, man.
Yeah, but there was for a while after that. We all were like, "Oh no, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine."
What do you mean?
After everybody, the hippies and everybody, went on riots and, the civil rights movement and all of that. And once it, settled, America was just like, okay, we've dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's done. We can stop talking about it. And now we're like, no, it's still fucking right there, man. You know what I mean? It hasn't been resolved in any way.
I don't know if it will be, and I don't know if a lot of things are going to change because it's been like this forever, and it can't be changed with a topical ointment. It has to be changed from the inside.
Yeah.
And I like what you talked about, with the dancing and chilling out, because when we get excited and upset about these things, which I still do. I mean, I'm a yoga teacher, blah blah blah. But me and my wife, maybe we talk about Kanye West and we both love him, but we have different opinions of what he said or does sometimes, and we get we both get kind of heated, and we both have very different opinions. We're I need to go for a walk, and. And
we've gotten a heated debate over Kanye West and had to go for a walk
not long ago, but my point is that's all up in the head, right? So when you go dancing, you're really more in your body and you're kind of out of your head. Or if you do some breath work or some yoga or some working out or these things that need to be changed, or meditation, even though you're kind of in your head in meditation, if you really are doing it not right, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You're kind of focused on your breath. It's our brains, our minds are if you notice, they're just so fucking, those are the ones that cause all the problems. Mm-hmm. Our heads cause the problems. Our hearts don't really cause problems. If we really listen to our hearts, at the end of the day, it would kind of be like you're saying, you'd be just let them be whoever they want to be and just chill out. But in your head, it's me against them and fuck that and blah, 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 and race and politics and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because your head has been, fucked with since you were a child growing up with how you were raised and what you were told and all of these things that got implemented right from the get-go, all these things that we have to unlearn, in society or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, your heart doesn't get any of that.
And your head's always trying to solve problems. So it's how do I solve problems? So how did you solve problems as a kid? I don't like sitting in fucking uncomfortable situations. So shut up, you're right, I'm right, you're wrong, blah, 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 stop, or however it's got, I'm going to yell over you and just kind of get you down. Or your heart's kind of all right, we're unresolved. You feel that way, I feel this way, but we still love each other. Let's not forget that part, Or we're all humans, or we're all whatever. Or we're all sometimes you ever at restaurants when you go up to a table or at the bar and you immediately there's just some tension between you and that people, and then I'm just sometimes I'm if it were outside of this situation, couldn't we just be friends? Why are we all of a sudden going down this road where we hate each other? Yeah. And we've never really met, and we've only said about 8 words each to each other, and we're both side-eyeing each other because I want you to order something, but you're not ready. And so now we hate each other.
That's so true.
Right? And then you're you kind of pull back and you're couldn't we kind of probably just be friends if it wasn't for this situation?
Yeah, dude. Well, that's why people that go into restaurants and have, I don't know, other priorities. It's do you know why you're here, right?
Yeah.
I have to talk to you. So
are you talking about getting hit on?
No.
Oh.
When I'm at a restaurant and 2 people are in a conversation and they're either catching up or they're in a business meeting or something, and I, the server, have to boop boop boop. Hi, hello, and I feel bad. I don't want to interrupt because normally I wouldn't just be hey, what do you need? But I'm required to ask you for your order. So could you respect me as a person who has to do this and pause your conversation so I'm not just standing there like an asshole?
It's the worst when you walk up to a table and you're hey, how's it going, guys? And they just fucking
ignore the fuck out of you.
You're just nobody.
You're nobody. You are their servant, and they're just give us a minute.
Yeah.
I can give you a minute. You can get the fuck up out of here.
I'm gonna give you 6 minutes. I'll be back whenever I feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
No, but there's this one couple. I was like, I should have gotten a bigger tip because my heart was so open for these people. Anyway,
Exactly.
So I walked up to the table. First of all, our tables are rectangular, like long ways. They had rotated the table so they could be closer instead of sitting on the same side.
Which is so annoying when people move tables around on themselves.
Stop it. Yeah, don't do that. So they're close together and they're holding each other's hands and they're not praying because I can tell they're sort of meditating together.
Okay.
And I've done yoga. I totally am of that woo-hooey incense kind of vibey lifestyles, definitely more ingrained in me than it was. So I walk up, I see this, and I get the energy vibes that they have, and I'm like, oh, they don't need to be disturbed. So I just do my first thing where I'm like, what do you guys need? They get some wine, and I go, I can see that you guys are having your time. You dick.
Why? Dude, it's connected to my goddamn computer still.
I'm in the middle of a story. So anyway,
annoying.
so they are having this thing, and I just go, you please, I don't want to interrupt you guys, but just flag me down whenever you need anything. And I think I avoided their table for a whole hour.
Really?
I didn't do a check back or anything. I was just like, nope, they're having their time. So then by the time they were done, he was like, thank you so much. That was so nice of you, because he obviously knew that I had seen what they were doing and I don't want to interrupt their time. I mean, it's a weird place to do it.
Yeah,
but
They came into public school, had some wine, but they were just meditating.
they weren't just meditating, but they were having a very intense experience with each other. And I don't know if it was something they were going through. They were working through something, but together they were like...
No, they were on acid.
They might have been, but I didn't want to bother them, ruin their trip. Or whatever it was.
Kidding.
And I think I deserved more than 20% for recognizing what they were doing and giving them their fucking space.
But they gave you 20%.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's the funny part. It's like, I opened my heart. I should get more. You're like, oh, did you open your heart? Yeah, I don't know. I went to church yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, there's this church out here called Zoe Church. It's where Justin Bieber goes to church.
Oh.
It's at the El Rey Theater.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I grew up Catholic, and so I go on Easter and Christmas, and it was Easter, and our friend, but no families in town, so our friends were like, oh, you want to come? And we're like, yeah, cool. My wife grew up Methodist. So we went to this church. It's so you walk in, it's dark, it's the El Rey Theater, it's loud, it's bumping, there's smoke machines going on, there's people singing everywhere.
There's hippest church of all time.
Yeah, there's basically strobe lights happening, everything is really well put together. They're videotaping, they're doing everything, they're singing, there's monitors where you can you sing the words with them, there's a big band up there, there's 3 different people singing, there's a choir behind them, and it's all kind of this hip stuff. So I was very skeptical, right? I'm like, I'll listen, I'll be here, I'm cool with it. I have zero problem listening to people be positive about whatever, It's funny because these people are all super hip and cool, and they're talking about positive, and then the pastor is this really young, cool, really nice, well-dressed, funny as fuck guy with a beautiful wife and 3 kids or 4 kids or whatever. And it's funny because they'll be talking all this positivity about everything's gonna be all right and life's gonna be good and we're gonna do this and blah 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 blah. Jesus, and you're the Jesus thing is what? Why did you say Jesus?
Why?
What did you say Jesus for? When you're at church. But
I feel the same. Seriously, not the other day, years ago, when I was still in Virginia, I was driving around looking at I think I was going to the gym or something, but it was Christmas time, so all the lights and decorations were on the houses and stuff. And I such an idiot. I drove by this house and they had lights and then they had a big cross in their lawn, and I was like, ugh, why do you have to bring religion in? And I was like, oh my God, what am I saying? Of course Christmas is a fucking religious holiday.
I feel like Jesus though, it is weird, man, but at the same time, whenever I go to church, I always feel good after. You've never gone to church and then felt horrible.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like the whole Jesus thing is almost just a catalyst for people to is that the right word?
Yeah.
Just a catalyst for people to get the positivity out of religion.
Yeah.
And then Jesus is the label.
Yeah, well,
almost.
I think like if like those guys like who's young and hip and they know, and I think they get it, and they know like Instagram and like being hip, like they serve you coffee, you know, like before you go in there, they got breath mints, you know, the music is cool, he's really well dressed. And I think if you look at a guy, like if you took away all the religion from it, you took a guy like Jesus was a guy who was like, hey, like, let's just all be cool. Like, let's bring it all together.
Yeah.
I took a world religions philosophy class, and they talked about Jesus. And Jesus and the people who wanted him dead believed that God was going to take them out from Roman thumb. Like, because the Romans was basically, they're the ones who's like kind of sucking those people's like lives dry, and their lives kind of sucked. And there's different types of like castes of people who believe different ways of how they're going to get out from under it. And Jesus and the Pharisees both believed that God was going to take them out. But the Pharisees were like, you have to follow all these rules, and you can only do these things at these certain times, and you can only be this type of person, and you can't be, you know, a tax collector or a hooker or any of these types. That you have to follow all these rules. And Jesus is like, oh no, actually, I know God pretty well, and he told me that it's cool that God is going to help us, but really we need to all come together and not separate each other. So I'm going to show you in a lot of these different ways, like I'm going to heal this guy on the Sabbath when you're not supposed to, just to show you that like it's not all about that. And
which is funny, and that I totally resonate with that.
Right.
And it feels like now what Christianity and religion is what those other people were talking about.
And I think that's the type of stuff that you're gonna see on like the news and on Facebook and on these things, because it gets all the clicks. But if you really like go, you know, for me, I was like, I'll check this place out, and I was still kind of like, I see this guy making a lot of money. I don't care that people make money in church, because if they're out there like inspiring people to do really well and they get money from it, I have no problem.
What's the difference between that and like a motivational speaker?
Yeah, like anything. Yeah. Like I have no like, and they never are like, you owe me this. It's like you just donate whatever you want to donate, and I have my own thoughts on all that stuff. So, I was like, and by the end of I was leaving that place, the guy had like goosebumps, and I like almost started like I felt like I was gonna cry, and I was just like, yeah, I'll come back to this. And my wife has had a bad back. She's got 2 herniated discs right now, and so she goes there and she comes back feeling good. I'll go there with her every once in a while. We come back feeling good. Everybody's hip and cool. I want to hang out with the guy, you know, like nobody's like, now you need to do, like, now come here, you have to come into this separate room, and I'm going to sell you timeshares. You know what I mean? I always laugh, because I'm like, you're just going to let me walk in and walk out, and nobody's going to fuck with me?
It
like,
is
really?
weird.
Yeah, like, I'm waiting for you to try to get me.
Where it gets weird with religion is that when people...
Yeah, when they try to hold on to people, that's when it's not...
Yeah, or people just try to, like, be like, let me pray for you, give me your hand. Or,
yeah, right.
Let's sing a song. One time, when I was a little kid, we would go to church every now and then. We weren't like super religious, but every now and then, because like the rest of my family is very religious, right?
Yeah.
My mom just never, she is, but never was the church going type, you know, and neither were we. So anyway, I played soccer as a kid, and one of the kids on the team I was friends with, and they invited us to dinner one night, and they were uber religious, like balls deep religious.
Right.
And we go over to their house for dinner. Everything's cool. We say hi. We go and sit down. They bring out the spread, put it on the table, and then we do a prayer, obviously.
Right.
And then we eat. And then afterwards, I think they wanted to like sing songs, like Jesus songs, but like holding hands. And it was me and my 2 brothers and my mom. My dad wasn't there, and it was like one other kid, and then both of them, and they were just like, it's like a flip switched, and they just were like the weirdest.
Yep.
Well, because
like people, man,
what
and
I'm
it was
thinking
just creepy.
is that if
Right.
you said I don't want to participate, they'd be like, do it.
They were very pushy. We had to sing. They were like, you have to do at least one song.
That's
I don't
what I'm
remember how the
saying.
song
Like,
went, but I was
if-
just like, this is why I don't like religion.
Yeah, but if it's
Don't
like,
do
if
this.
they said, hey, we're going to sing songs, you can join if you want.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you
Also,
have
don't
to.
fucking sing songs when you invite people over.
That is a weird thing. But if I was at somebody's place and they started playing the guitar and they were like, I'm just gonna do this and you can do
That's
with it
different,
what you
though.
will. No, it's not really that different.
Someone plays a guitar and starts singing. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is, because they're not asking me to help.
No,
They're
but
not
someone
like,
grabs
play the
your
guitar
hand.
with me, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
No, but these people invited us over to dinner. And now they're like, you have to participate in this event that we do.
Yeah, but
every
I'm saying
time.
the
They
fact
do
that they're
every night
saying
after dinner.
you have to participate, whether it's religion or not, is automatically no, thank you.
Yeah.
Don't have me do anything that I wasn't willing. Give me the choice.
Yeah.
For everything. That's like I've been thinking about that lately. Like, if you have a friend who is very like. You have those friends that are low-key, and then you have friends that are high-key. And the low-key ones, you're like, I feel like I can be myself. If I'm late to something, you're like, yeah, no problem. If I can't make it, did something, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. But then you have those friends where if you bail on them once, they're like, wow, what the fuck? And you're like, okay, something happened. Do I have to explain every fucking detail to you so that you understand? Can't you just trust me on my word that we're friends? Or you have to like keep convincing them that you're friends with them, and it's just like it's exhausting because they're trying to like hold on to you as a friend. They won't let you, or if you go hang out with somebody else, they get jealous, and it's like, dude, no, you're pushing me away by trying to hold me in,
So
and that's how
like
I feel.
When people are very pushy, then it's just negative in general? Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
If you try to possess me as a person, you're gonna get pushback.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. But if you make plans, you better fucking be there because LA's the flakiest goddamn town in the world.
Well, if it's something like this, I would be like, "Yo, fuck you," because
it's
it
gonna
means
happen.
something.
I promise you. I'm 40 episodes deep. Somebody's not going to show up. They're gonna,
sure.
They're gonna, and they're probably not going to call you.
We already had one, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to happen.
We had one, but he was like, "I'm so sorry, I got the day wrong," and I was like, "That's fine." But I had somebody else who said, "Let's aim for Friday," and I was like, "What do you mean aim? Does that mean if something better comes up, you're going to go, oh, sorry, bye?" Yeah. If it's like, because to me, this is just as important as an audition or another job.
Well, your word is integrity, and integrity can't be bought. And so, if you're going to say you're going to do something, you just do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Period.
It's like you show up. Show up to things. Like if somebody needs your help on a project and they're not paying you, just be there. Yeah. Like don't be like, well, it doesn't matter, I'm not getting paid, because then nobody wants to work with you ever.
Yeah. Because you can literally go from a conversation talking about meth head roommates who are lion tamers to Jesus in an hour, and then get some love. Like show up to what you be, say what you mean, and do what you say in one podcast. Period. How do you not do it? How do you not do it? How do you not
know.
do it?
It's good. Yeah, it's great.
People need to like know what the benefit is before they just commit to something, and not like, hey, it might be a terrible experience, but at least I'll learn something.
Yeah. And I think that's what so I've been coming up on this stuff called breath work. It's this guy named John Paul Creamy.
His last name is Creamy.
CRMI. No, CRIMI.
That's unfortunate.
Creamy?
If it's like Creamy.
Creamy?
I don't know.
Creamy?
Still sounds
I'm sure
weird.
he's a good guy. It's Italian, I guess. Aren't you Italian? So it's cool. And I forget what we were talking about, but breath work. So I've recently been doing this. So my point is, like, when I learn or hear about some things that really excite me, I want to share them with as many people as possible.
Oh, same. Yeah.
So it's like, started teaching yoga a year and a half ago. Still love yoga. Still think it's great. But I yesterday I thought it was like such an LA day because I taught a yoga class. Went to church with Bieber, walked my Weimaraner dog on a bird, scooter, those new scooters that are laying around, ate some gluten-free donuts with my wife, read a play, and like did some breath work, which is basically just laying on the ground and breathing in a certain type of way. And then it oxygenates your whole body so much that you get really high. And it also helps like kind of clear out any kind of like stress or whatever. Like if you're really stressed out, and then went and did this breath work, which you can get on like iTunes, John Paul, CRIMI. It's like $12, and he guides you through it, and his headphones you have it for the rest of your life. And you did this for like 20 minutes, this breath, laid on the ground and breathe for 20 minutes. You'd come back and it'd be, you'd be so high. You're so high off of oxygen. So it's going to wear off a little bit. You ain't going to have to worry about it like 3 hours later. And then your mind's going to completely change, or it's going to help you kind of figure out, like, if you had like a stressful thing, like I don't know what to do about something, you lay down and breathe for 20 minutes, it would change your life.
Is it just like another form of meditation?
Yeah, it's exactly. And then he ends it with some meditation, which is But yeah, it's basically another form of meditation. He thinks like, how yoga has become really the thing right now. Every corner has a yoga shop, and then like meditation studios are starting to pop up all over the place, and like you're seeing places like where people just go to sit down.
Meditation.
Yeah, like it's like a yoga place, but it's just meditation. And then he feels like this breath work is going to kind of do it too. And he has his own experiences with it, and he was on. He's Breathe with JP is his website. He's just a guy that I met that there's a it was called Unplug. It's a meditation spot in like Brentwood. They had like a week for like free or like a week for $30 or something like that, or 2 weeks for $30. So I bought it because my cousin went there, and she's like, "Oh, you got to stay for this guy." I stay for this guy. I'm crying, and like I'm done. I've been sober for like 4 years. I'm like so high. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. I've been high in forever. I miss this. And then I talked to him, and he's like a South Boston, like grew up fighting people. Has like his own crazy stories about life and stuff like that. And it's really changed his life. So I recently, and it's just like, I have my buddy Bob Nickman, who was on my last episode of the Noel Bax podcast. I have him on. We talk about his podcast. I'm like, I should have probably listened to this before I had him on, but I'll listen to it now. And because I almost forgot about it. And then I listened, and I was like, oh, he had John Paul on. Let me listen to John Paul. Oh, John Paul's talking about how this changed his life. Oh, let me go into my phone, which I've had this like iTunes album for like 2 years now, and I haven't looked at it in forever. Let me lay on the ground and do this. Oh, this is changing my life. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do this. And then I have like another buddy. I did it. This is the most life-changing thing in the whole entire world. This is blowing my mind. Oh, the other friend, I'm really kind of in some pain. I need some help. You should try this breathwork thing, And it's crazy how this world rolls.
Where I get very excited about something and need to tell everybody about it. And because that's like, I can't understand how people don't see how awesome the world is when I keep learning things and discovering things and finding things that are fun for me and exciting for me and learning and growing, and I'm just like, it's never ending, and which is incredible. You know what I mean?
Well, I do like that about you, is that you just you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks or says or does, and you just keep fucking pushing, and you're like, I'm gonna do what I do. Like that video you did with at public school about ranch. That shit was fucking brilliant.
Wasn't that hilarious?
That was awesome.
That was a great video.
Why can't I think of her
really
name?
funny.
Vanessa?
I love Vanessa. I love you, Vanessa.
Did you work
we
there
need
too?
to have her on.
Yeah,
the
I worked there
podcast.
for like 5 years.
Oh, no
Yeah,
shit.
that's where we met.
Oh, okay.
But we did because the public school, for whatever reason, their corporate office is garbage, and they.
Don't listen.
What it is? I mean, I'm probably gonna be leaving there soon,
Okay.
but like
Are you?
because I'm moving to the east side. I'm not trying to go all the way back to Culver City for a job at a restaurant. No, thank you. But like, their marketing team was shit, and so what they did was, instead of like investing in a marketing team or people that knew what the fuck they were doing, they went to the servers of their restaurant, who are part-time workers and have no like credentials even, and they were like, hey, we're gonna do a contest. Make a video that we can put on our social media. We'll take all of the rights from you, and then we'll promote our company with your creative project, and we'll pay you for it if you win. So I was like, cool. I need the money. Somebody had the idea. I think Eddie, one of our managers, had the idea, and I was like, oh, I have a perfect vision for this. I know exactly how it's going to go. So I directed and video shot it, and Vanessa was my star. Kayla was also in it. Shout out Kayla Strong.
Yeah, shout out.
And Vanessa Jackson.
Did you win?
We won. It was like
Cool.
$250 or something, and we split it 3 ways because there was only 3 of us that worked on it. But then after that, I was like, well, I would have no problem making these videos because I have experience doing this if you want to compensate me for it. And they didn't want to do that. They wanted to pay Genesis, who was a part-time manager even. They were abusing the shit out of her and having her do like their graphic design work. And I'm like, does she even have a fucking degree? Like, what are you doing? And they just like, they have no sense of like respect for people's work ethic and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take this video and I'm going to show it to everybody because I made it. And it was awesome. They wanted to like take it from me. I was like, can I put it on my reel? And they were like, no, it's ours now. No, fucking no. You didn't do anything with it anyway. Your social media is still shit.
It was a great
Public
video.
schools?
Yeah.
I highly recommend you watch it.
It's
I've
really
seen
funny.
it. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
Public school is a great restaurant with food. Their food and beer is amazing, but their management needs, not management, but their corporate office just needs to get their shit together.
get the cauliflower.
It sounds like they need to get the cauliflower.
With ranch. Except our ranch isn't real ranch now. It's homemade and it's like pink. And people are like, what is this?
Are they making
Put
pink
sriracha
ranch?
in it.
I don't know. They put a bunch of herbs and shit and we deliver it. Somebody was like, can I get the wings with ranch instead of blue cheese? So I did that and I deliver and they go, oh, can I have ranch? And I just brought the same sauce and they were like, oh, that is ranch. Ew. Like,
Is it
no.
good though? Does it taste good?
I don't know.
You never tried it?
I think I tried it.
What's wrong with
I don't
you?
remember.
Oh. I love public school. It's delicious there.
It is delicious.
Nice people, great people. I love
Everybody that
they
works
took care
there,
of-
like
yeah.
server wise, like I love my coworkers.
Yeah.
Everybody's pretty fucking dope.
They were. I definitely think it's one of those places that I definitely was like, everybody who works here, for the most part, is really cool and like a good friend and like an awesome person.
That's
it
the
really is a hub.
trip.
Like Bob Turton, he comes back all the time because he does plays at the Actors Gang or whatever. But he'll come in for lunch like all the time. Like you just come back to visit.
Yeah.
People that you.
That's how you
know
get
what
sucked.
I mean?
That's the bad thing about working at a restaurant is that you get sucked into that.
Like,
you get
that
sucked into like
family.
having like that work family and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in that now. I think like I love the people I work with and everyone there. And like even though I make really good money too, like if I didn't, I still feel like I would like try to still work there just because I like being around those people so much. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think.
Well, I feel like if I left, I'd still be able to go back and hang out.
Yeah. I've been back like twice.
Well,
but,
you're still on the fucking Facebook group. So is Elena. She's left. So is like half the people that used to work there still just are on the Facebook group because they want to just like chime in every once in a while.
throw shade.
Yeah, it's
Throw
hilarious.
some shade.
Noel's the worst at fucking throwing shade. People are like, Jesus, Noel going in. It's hilarious.
I like to offend people.
It is fun.
I got to run. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I appreciate
Of course,
you guys.
yeah.
So
We would love to have you back again. I feel like there was a lot more to talk about.
there's plenty.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have you guys on my show too.
Yeah.
We would
that'd be
love
cool.
to be on your show.
This is a lot nicer setup than mine. So
Oh, is
I
it?
appreciate you guys.
Nice. So we
I have
gotta
a-
make it comfy.
I have a blue Yeti. So we
I
just
don't
sit
know
at a
that.
table and just like one mic in between.
Just
us, and
Uno?
we just talk. Yeah, just
Uno?
one. I make them lean in on it. I make them lean in, but they're nice. It's a nice mic, and I just
Those
hook
are
it up
nice
to my
mics, yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Matt has?
Yeah, Matt
Little-
has a two-way.
Yeah.
The thing I was showing you, but
Yeah, cool. Noel Bax podcast, if you don't mind.
Instagram or anything?
Instagram, Noel Bax. How
How do you spell that?
B-A-X.
Noelbax. Bunch of, very similar to this podcast. Like in this regards that it's just a bunch of cool people out here chasing dreams, and we're going to talk about it and anything else in between like we did today. So
Awesome.
and if you guys want to do yoga, hit me up and I will
Are
happily
you
have
only
you come
at
to-
the Veda?
I'm at Veda Yoga and then I'm in something called the Bay Club. It's there's like 3. It's like a big health club. There's 3 of them. I teach that in Westchester, California, and then there's one in Santa Monica in the Palisades. So if you ever want to do any yoga, let me know. If you want to know about the breath work, let me know. If you need anything, if you want to go to church with me and Bieber, let me know.
I might have to hit you up on that just to experience
It's
it.
fun.
Yeah, same.
No, you guys should.
Same.
It's fun. It's a good thing. I'm trying to. I've actually started like a little Facebook group on that too. Just like, hey, I'm going to church. You want to come?
Oh, nice.
That's
I'm
cool.
not trying to push anybody, but
No.
and it's also because if you say the word Jesus, it's secret society. It's like anybody can talk about anything. You'd be like, man, whatever, like the craziest shit ever. But then you're like, hey, bro, Jesus. Yeah, Jesus.
It's like a code word.
Yeah, you're like, all right, yeah, he's cool. All right, cool, see you later. Then you're like, fuck everybody, fucking, whatever. You're talking about anything else, but you can't say that.
It is. So
Can't say
like that.
Jesus. All right, thank you for having a seat, Noel.
Thank you.
This is the Have a Seat podcast, as you know. Thank you for tuning in to another episode with Anthony Pacheco and
Betsy Hayes.
Let's
Say
want to
your
see each other's names. All right, thank you.